And it's live.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the council meeting September of the Cherokee Nation Council. We've been in committee meetings most of the day. We looked at some resolutions and mostly talked about the big celebration we had a couple weeks ago and how we might improve and how we address the numbers that come to Cherokee County. Every year somebody will say it's bigger and better. When it gets bigger and better, then you have to accommodate all of our guests. The economy for Cherokee County is outstanding on Cherokee holidays. We just have to accommodate so many people, and it takes a lot of our employees and volunteer time to prepare. And they did an outstanding job this year to accommodate so many visitors. And I want to applaud the employees at Cherokee Nation for doing such an outstanding job. Well, but to everybody. At this time, I'll ask our recorder to select, and I guess I could do that. Invocation. Councilor Buzzer, would you please do that?
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here at the Cherokee Nation to have our tribal council meeting, we ask that you give us guidance. Keep your hand upon us. Bless all the people that came to pay their respects tonight. And thank you for your traveling graces for our citizens. We ask you for traveling grace back to their homes. We ask you also to bless and keep your hand upon our troops that are serving abroad and here at home. We ask you to keep us in your prayers, keep us in your thoughts, and give us guidance tonight. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen. Amen.
Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, sir. Bill Anglin.
Aye.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Harley Buzzard. Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Aye.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan. Dick Lay. Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw. E.O. Smith.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Victoria Vasquez. David Walkingstick. Brian Warner. We have a quorum.
At this time, I'd entertain approval of the minutes.
Motion may be approved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. At this time, we will take on the State of the Nation by our Principal Chief, Mr. Bill John Baker.
OCO.
Seal.
And welcome to the September council meeting. This year has just flown. With this month's news, we had another wonderful Cherokee National holiday. Special thanks to all the employees who made sure everything went smoothly. And it's kind of hard to get a count these days. The way that we've rearranged the traffic and put everything, but you couldn't hardly stir them with a stick. Our efforts to go green and reduce our carbon footprint will be assisted by a $1.3 million grant from the Federal Department of Transportation, and we will utilize it for 2 new electric buses for some of our routes. There will be we'll use additional funds from the Federal Transit Administration to build several electric charging stations around the Cherokee Nation as well. We helped the community of Fort Gibson dedicate a new water treatment plant. Cherokee Nation played a major role in coordinating the federal funding through IHS and helped with the engineering for the new facility. It will positively impact 5,000 residents and over 500 Native American homes. We will be hosting our 5th annual Warrior Flight next week. We have 10 veterans from 3 wars, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, scheduled for December this year. Also, this coming weekend, the Cherokee Nation at-large meetings in Texas will be in San Antonio on Saturday and Houston on Sunday. And on another note, I visited with Chief Sneed of the Eastern Band. Let's keep them in prayer. The hurricane that is hitting the coast of Carolina is still supposed to be a Category 1 by the time it hits Cherokee, and we have offered our swiftwater rescue teams to stand by in case flooding hits our brothers and sisters in Cherokee, North Carolina. With that, I'll go into the next phase where we remember the Cherokees that were with us last month that are not with us this month, and I'll ask for additions to that, and then we'll have a moment of silence. If we could, Terry Acuff of Tahlequah, Jim Blackbird of Salisaw, Judy Cartwright of Grove, Alma Coates of Webbers Falls, Roy Cobb of Tulsa, Mary Cole of Tahlequah, Henry Coleman of Salisaw, Annaleek Davis of Broken Arrow, Big Joe Drywater of Tahlequah, Daley Duncan of Stillwell, Barry Short Foreman of Tahlequah, Cherokee Nation employee in the Natural Resources Department, Lucinda Glass of Stillwell, Iva Glenn of Tahlequah, Peggy Howard of Tahlequah, Jewel Lathy of Tahlequah, Walter Longcrier of Muskogee, Roy Lowry of Tahlequah, Teresa McClellan of Locust Grove, Adam Usawi of Tahlequah, Robert Patrick Jr. of Tahlequah, Easton Pierce of Tahlequah, George Postoak of Tahlequah, Shauna Quinn of Salisaw, Chance Sandusky of Welch, Roger Cisco of Salisaw, Ton Stewart of Nowata, Carl Studevant of Veneta, Billy Thompson of Tahlequah, and former Chief of Staff Gary Stopp of Tahlequah. Do you have others?
Yes, Tommy Robinson of Grove.
Have Katie Mink, Misty McChristian, Nellie Bearpaw, and Zoe Bunch, all of Stillwell.
Kathy Goodwin, Underwood, Veneta.
Melvin Rector, Bartlesville.
Joe Smoke of Afton.
We could have a moment of silence for all of those. We do.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, the Cherokee Warrior Veterans Awards, Deputy Chief Joe Crittenden.
Mr. Speaker, this evening we have 4 veterans to honor for their service with the Warrior Award and the Medal of Patriotism. Councilman Buell Anglin, would you come down and help us with this presentation, sir? Our first veteran tonight is Billy Paul Kaiser. Billy Paul, would you come down, sir? Bill Paul enlisted in the Air Force in 1973, went to basic training in San Antonio, Texas. Upon completing his training, Mr. Kaiser was sent to Shepherd Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, Texas, where he was trained in aircraft maintenance at Reese Air Force Base, Lubbock, Texas, where he worked on the T-37 and T-38 aircrafts. In 1975, Mr. Kaiser volunteered for worldwide duty, which stationed him at Kusan, Air Base, South Korea, where Mr. Kaiser worked on the F-4 jet bombers after a year in Korea. Mr. Kaiser returned stateside to Homestead Air Force Base, Florida. He was stationed there until he was honorably discharged as an E-4 sergeant in 1977. Decorations and medals, he was awarded the National Defense Medal. Mr. Kaiser, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you, sir, for your service to this country.
Three of them.
I say we got the wrong one.
Brother. Yours too. You put that there.
Right here, 1, 2, 3.
Now, this is going to be dangerous, but you want some family to come down? Sure. All right. Come on. Brother. No. Yeah, it could be dangerous. I want to put them all in. The reason it's dangerous, we're awarding 3 Kaiser brothers tonight.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Would you like to say anything, sir?
I appreciate the recognition. I think all veterans are always pleased to get a little recognition.
Well, and we've always honored and revered our warriors, and we know that Cherokees enroll and serve in the military at a higher rate than any other group in the country, and it's our honor and privilege to give this to you, and if nobody ever told you, welcome home.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilman Shambaugh, did he leave? Did Mike leave, Councilman?
He'll be back. He had to take a phone call.
Okay. Harley, you could step in. You could help us with this, if you would. Our next veteran tonight is George Ricky Kaiser. Mr. Kaiser, would you come forward, sir? George Kaiser was drafted into the Army in 1972. After basic training, he was transferred to Fort Bliss, Texas, where he trained on the Nike Hercules missile system, working on missile tracking and target tracking radars at Chesapeake Bay area. After completing training in 1973, Mr. Kaiser re-enlisted in 1974. The re-enlistment took him to Fort Greeley, Alaska, where he was stationed at Poker Flat Research Range, north of Fairbanks, Alaska, for the next 5 years. Mr. Kaiser would work on different payload experiments attached to the unmanned rockets and missiles. Mr. Kaiser was honorably discharged from the Army as an E-4 specialist in 1979. His decorations and medals: the Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal. And Mr. Kaiser, on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank you, sir, for your service to this country.
There, and we'll get a picture.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Now, would you like some family to come down?
Yeah. Wife can come down. If family, that would be the whole pew.
Councilor Shambaugh, if you want to come in here.
And you can have as many as you want.
Once we get all
We'll come back, we'll bring them all back, okay?
That'd probably work better.
Yeah. Mike, I'm glad you're back.
All right. Squeeze in real tight for me there. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
Just as my brother said, we appreciate the recognition, and we're proud to be Cherokee.
Very good.
Thank you.
Buell, would you help us with this one, sir? Our last Kaiser brother this evening is Kenneth David Kaiser. Kenneth, would you come forward? Kenneth D. Kaiser enlisted in the Army in '65 and was sent to basic training in Fort Polk, Louisiana, where he was in the Infantry and Military Transport Company. After basic training, Mr. Kaiser was sent to Fort Eustis Military Base, Newport, Virginia, where he further trained in all areas of transportation. In '66, Mr. Kaiser was transferred to Southeast Asia and spent 11 months and 29 days at Cam Ranh Bay, Vietnam. Mr. Kaiser was in the 264th Transportation Company, which was responsible for offloading ships in Da Nang, Vietnam. The 264th also provided artillery and weaponry for the 101st Airborne and the 1st Infantry Ground Troops. At the end of his active tour, plus his reserve time in the Army, Mr. Kaiser was honorably discharged in 1971. Decorations and medals: the Vietnam Service Medal with Service Star, Vietnam Campaign Medal with Device, National Defense Service Medal, Specialist Marksman M14 badge. Mr. Kaiser, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you, sir, for your service to this country.
No, you made it good.
Made it good, didn't it? All right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Would you like your family to come down? Come on.
Youngest daughter and her, come on, Riley. Don't be bad.
Come on, Riley.
Like you're riding a horse, and come on. Get right in. Up there would be good.
Alright. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You got it. Thank you.
Now,
Would you like to say anything?
Just proud to be a Cherokee.
Really proud.
all three brothers.
All right, need all three brothers for one big family vote. Stop. Tommy and Tony and Johnny and
There's a guy named Cherokee. Tommy's still running.
Tommy's still running. Susie's gone and Johnny's gone. But
Small world.
there you go. Did you rodeo with Don Crittenden? Did you rodeo with Don Crittenden?
No.
No, okay.
Okay, everybody, turn your awards around for me. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And Speaker, our fourth veteran tonight, and I need Council Lady Janice Taylor, would you come down, please, to help with this? Our fourth veteran tonight is William Wycliffe Jr. William, would you come forward, sir? Mr. Wycliffe, at age 22, was employed as an auto mechanic for Packard Motors in Pryor, Oklahoma, before being inducted into the Army in 1958. He was sent to Fort Carson, Colorado for his basic training and was transferred to Fort Ord, California, where he became a mechanic into the motor pool division. The following year, Mr. Wycliffe was sent overseas to Korea, where he finished his active duty service in the Army. He was honorably discharged in 1964 as an E-4 specialist. It says no decorations or medals recorded. I think there should have been one or two. But Mr. Wycliffe, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you for your service to this country, sir.
Now let's have you right hand down. Family? No bashfulness.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Ms. Wick? Here's the bag. Mr. Wycliffe, would you like to say anything?
Oh, well, I appreciate it very much. You all done for it.
Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate you so much. Mr. Speaker, we never know what the day holds. And I would like for everyone to keep Barbara Starr Scott in your prayers. She's dealing with a tragedy right now. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our Cherokee Warriors Veteran Awards. Action on unfinished business, none pending. Committee reports. We have our Cherokee Nation business, Mr. Sean Slayton, our CEO.
Chief, Deputy Chief, Council. It's been a great summer for our Cherokee businesses. I think the hot weather contributed a lot to that here locally in our gaming and entertainment facilities. And then our diversified businesses have really prospered and are continuing to grow. It's coming up on the end of the fiscal year for the government, and so we're hitting it hard trying to get all the contracts that we can possibly get. Financials look really good for August and July. We've had a fantastic year. We collected $377,000 in taxes and remitted that to the Tax Commission. And I just want to thank Chief, Deputy Chief, and Council for coming out to the topping out ceremony the other day. That's a milestone for that project at Hard Rock. And it's also very encouraging when you get the support that was shown to our employees and the construction workers. We are continuing to develop Tahlequah Plaza. I think maybe you might have seen the announcement for the third-party hotel that will be located behind Taco Bueno. It's a Hilton brand, and we certainly welcome them to the plaza. We began construction, if you've been by, on the retail shopping center, and we've begun the landscape along the front of the highway. we put that off until most of the road work had been completed. I'd like to announce tonight that we have joined with the Bassmasters to host at Tahlequah next May the Bassmaster Elite Series fishing tournament on Fort Gibson. So they'll fish at Fort Gibson and then they'll bring their catch to the casino. It'll be outside and we'll do the weigh-in there. And we anticipate that being a big event for not only the casino and the plaza and the Cherokee, but Tahlequah as well. I'm happy to announce that our board approved a restoration project of the Saline Courthouse, and that'll be in 2 phases, and we're trying to figure out a way to run them at the same time. One will be building a caretaker home for somebody to be there full time. As you know, we've had some issues with vandalism, so we're going to put someone there full time to help with that, and then we'll be restoring the house itself. We've got an award-winning cultural tourism team is still accepting grant applications for education tours during the fall semester. The tours provide students an exclusive look at Cherokee Nation's rich history and cultures. They're designed for grades 3rd through 6th. So if you know someone that would like to go to that, have them contact our cultural tourism department. We currently employ 3,252 Cherokee citizens, 305 other natives, for a total of 3,557 Native Americans. We currently have 6,982 employees. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions for our CEO? Councilor Lay?
Thanks, Speaker. Sean, do you have any updates for us on the new, I guess you would call it, hiring and promotions and training preference guidelines?
I do have that. Our human resources officer is on vacation. They sent me the policy, I believe, over the weekend to approve. I have a few questions that I would like to discuss with her about that, how it's written, and make sure I understand it. And then that will be distributed late this week or the first part of next week. I don't think she's back till Thursday today.
Could you do us a favor and maybe have that sent to Speaker so he could disseminate that to us?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you send that to Gail as well. Sometimes I may just overlook an email.
All right, will do. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good report. Oh, yes, Councilor Walkenstick.
Hey, Sean, what's the latest on the Arkansas gaming?
Well, the Arkansas Gaming Quapaw initiative was certified. The signatures were certified last week by the Secretary of State, which means that it can now be placed on the ballot. And today which it was, and today we learned that there was a challenge by one of the groups in Arkansas that's opposed to gaming. So the process for that will be, it'll be assigned to, I believe, a Supreme Court judge in Arkansas to listen to both arguments for and against. And hopefully the Quapaw prevail. And they have, I believe, until the November 6th date to rule on that. But I believe that's where it is as of 4 o'clock today.
When's the election?
November 6th.
They for the ballot itself, the gaming initiative is
November 6th. With everything.
They're going to rule on this as well in the court?
They have up till that day to rule on it. Yeah. That's how I understand how Arkansas works.
And then what county or area will, if this does pass, that Cherokee Nation will be able to build a casino?
Hope County.
Well, there are 4 locations, one at Southland, which is over by Memphis, one at Oaklawn, which is the racetrack there, The other 2 sites, one's in Pine Bluff, Quapaw would like to build there. And then the 4th and final site is Pope County, which is Russellville. And the way the initiative works on those 2, Russellville and Pine Bluff, is that you have to compete with everybody else for that license. So you just get after it and go from there.
Okay, so the one we're looking at is in Russellville?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
We good? Anybody else? Good report.
Thank you.
Old business, none pending. New business, out of resource. Councilor Shambaugh, would you take number 1?
This is a resolution authorizing the placement of land in trust, Beck's Mill, 40.02 acres in Delaware County, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Councilor Taylor, would you take item number 2?
I would. This is a resolution electing Frankie Harvest to the office of Secretary of the Tribal Council, and I move for her approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. You want to do that by acclamation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Congratulations, Secretary. Okay. Number 3. You want to take that, Councilor Warner?
Yes, sir. This is a resolution confirming the reappointment of James Simmons as a Commissioner of the Housing Authority of the Cherokee Nation Board of Commissioners, and I put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Jordan, you want to take item number 4?
Yes. This is a resolution confirming the appointment of Diane Mayfield as a Commissioner of the Housing Authority of the Cherokee Nation Board of Commissioners. Put that in form of a motion.
So you have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Resolution number 5. Councilor Vasquez.
Yes. This is a resolution confirming the appointment of the nomination, of Shauna Baker as a Justice of the Cherokee Nation Supreme Court. I put that in the form of a motion. And I also have a brief statement that I would like to read.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I move to approve the nomination of Shauna Baker as Justice of Cherokee Nation Supreme Court. And she has impeccable credentials for this position. She has a law degree, advanced law degrees, and an impressive professional resume. She adds diversity to our Supreme Court as both a woman and as an at-large citizen. These are perspectives we need in our government. Ms. Baker has litigated cases, tackled complex legal matters, been a law professor, and written professional articles. She is ready to serve as a justice. Also, I might note that Justice Garrett said that he could really use her. Mr. Speaker, yes, we know we have talked about this at Rules Committee, and we did have the support of a majority out of Rules, but her nomination has also received some criticism. Some of the criticism is frankly easy to dismiss, and some of it is worth considering. None of the criticism has swayed my vote. One of the least compelling arguments against Ms. Baker's nomination is that she lacks experience in Indian law. People without much knowledge of how our Supreme Court works and what kind of cases the court hears may find this criticism to be compelling. For those of us who understand the role of our court and the areas of law and procedure it reviews, federal Indian law experience is actually of relatively less importance than so many other areas of the law. Federal Indian law largely concerns the relationship between the federal government and tribes. Our Supreme Court deals with relationships between the Cherokee Nation government and its institutions and citizens. Constitutional law, statutory interpretation, civil procedure, contracts, family law, criminal law are among many areas of the law that are vastly more important than Indian law. Ms. Baker has some knowledge of Indian law and has vastly more exposure to and experience in these other more relevant areas of the law. More importantly, she has the experience and intellect to understand all areas of the law. So I find the criticism of her legal background to be completely baseless. And Mr. Speaker, this, in my view, by the way, was shared by former Cherokee Nation Supreme Court Justice Stacey Leeds, as she explained in her recent letter to the council in support of Ms. Baker. Another criticism of Ms. Baker is that she is not a member of the Cherokee Nation Bar Association. She, in fact, joined the Cherokee Nation Bar Association during the time period since the Rules Committee that required her to pay a small fee. It did not require her to pass a test or evaluation of any kind. Membership in the Cherokee Bar Association, while desirable in a nominee, is not of great importance. Mr. Speaker, another criticism of Ms. Baker is that she has not participated much in Cherokee community life. Whatever the definition of that is, I've carefully considered that issue, and I think it is a fair question of any Supreme Court nominee. Has Ms. Baker been deeply immersed in Cherokee cultural and civic life? It does not appear so, at least in comparison to many of us on this council. But those of us in Cherokee Nation public service come from different backgrounds with varying degrees of immersion in Cherokee culture and politics. All of us in public service over time become more immersed in Cherokee life. I suggest the same is true of Ms. Baker. For me, the most important factor in supporting her nomination is that she is a highly qualified and experienced Cherokee attorney, ready, willing, and able to serve her people. I find her to be an impressive candidate, not only because she has professional and academic credentials to do the job, but also because of her other qualities and experiences. She appears to have led the kind of life as a student and a young professional that I would wish for any young Cherokee. Ms. Baker dedicated herself to getting her bachelor's degree, her law degree, and 2 advanced law degrees. She worked her way through all of these degrees, and nothing was handed to Ms. Baker. She went out and worked for her education and career, and she achieved excellence. It's hard to think of a better set of Cherokee traits than the ones she displayed in accomplishing those goals. Ms. Baker's knowledge and professional experience and life experience all make me confident that she will be a wonderful, fair, impartial justice on our Supreme Court. She is highly qualified, and she will bring diversity to our court, and that will make our court stronger. Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly urge approval of this nominee.
Got a motion? Second? Second. Got a second? Any discussion?
Mr. Speaker.
Councilor Dobbins?
I respectfully motion to table this resolution and to refer back to committee.
Got a motion to table? Got a second?
I believe we need to vote on the first one. Shelley?
No. All in favor signify, yes. Councilor Walkenstick.
Just clarification, so we're doing a table to bring the candidate nominee back to
Committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay, you got a motion to table and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Okay. Shelley, you want to do roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
This yes to table.
Right. Buell England?
Yes.
Keith Austin?
No.
Harley Buzzard?
Yes.
Joe Byrd?
Yes.
Sean Crittenden?
Yes.
Mike Dobbins?
Yes.
Frankie Hargis?
No.
Wanda Hatfield?
No.
Rex Jordan? Dick Lay?
Yes.
Mike Shambaugh?
Yes.
Mary Bakershaw?
Yes.
E.O. Smith?
No.
Janice Taylor?
No.
Victoria Vasquez?
No.
David Walkingstick?
Yes.
Brian Warner?
No.
We have 9 yes, 8 no. The motion carries to table back to committee.
Go back to committee. Okay. Next will be the Councilor Hargis, would you take that out of finance, item number 6?
Yes. This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus office equipment to Orchard Road Community Outreach in Adair County. I move for its approval.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I think we can do the next 3 all in one if you want. Item number 7, 8, and 9. You want to take that, Councilor Hargis?
Sure. These are resolutions to authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus office equipment to Adair County Boys and Girls Club in Adair County, to Delaware County Boys and Girls Club in Delaware County, and to Native American Fellowship, Inc. in Nowata County. I move for their approval.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Councilor Austin, you want to take the next one?
This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus office equipment to Native American Fellowship Incorporated in Delaware County, and I move for its approval.
We already voted.
Oh, got the wrong one.
Number 10.
This is an act amending Legislative Act 26-17 authorizing the comprehensive operating budget fiscal year 2018, Lot 12, and declaring an emergency, and I move for its approval.
Second by acclamation.
Got a motion and a second by acclamation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Councilor Taylor, you want to take number 11?
It's an act authorizing and approving the fiscal year 2019 capital appropriations budget, and I move for its approval.
Have a motion and a second. By acclamation, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Councilor Taylor, would you take the last one?
I would. It's an act authorizing and approving the fiscal year 2019 operating budget, and I move for its approval.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. By acclamation, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Any announcements here to my right? Any announcements to my left? Audience, thank you for your patience. Everybody have safe travels, and this meeting is adjourned.